Immaculee's heart pounded as the crowd roared for her best friend, Vestine. The national dance troupe's Kigali premiere glittered under stadium lights, but Immaculee, relegated to the back row, burned with envy. Vestine's flawless spins and the director's praise, "She's our star," felt like daggers. Why her? Immaculee's own talent, honed through years of practice, went unnoticed. That night, in her cramped apartment, she stared at a photo of them laughing as teens, her jealousy festering. She couldn't sleep, her mind racing with bitter thoughts. Vestine had always been the favorite, teachers, choreographers, now the nation. Immaculee's fingers hovered over her phone, tempted to post a vague rumor about Vestine's unprofessional behavior. Just a hint, nothing traceable. It could shift the spotlight. Her pulse quickened at the thought of being seen, of finally mattering. But a flicker of guilt stopped her. Vestine had shared her dreams, her fears. Could she betray that? A single tweet changed everything. Had the troupe star isn't what she seems. Immaculee's anonymous post spread like wildfire. By morning, Kigali's dance forums buzzed with speculation about Vestine. Immaculee watched, heart racing, as comments piled up, some doubting Vestine's talent, others her character. She told herself it was harmless, just a nudge to level the playing field. At rehearsal, Vestine's smile faltered as whispers followed her. Immaculee avoided her gaze, focusing on her steps, but guilt gnawed. The director, sensing tension, demanded focus, unaware of the rumor's source. Immaculee's stomach churned. Had she gone too far? That evening, Vestine called, voice trembling, asking if Immaculee had heard the gossip. "I'd never believe it," Immaculee lied, her throat tight. The call ended, but the weight of her betrayal lingered. Vestine's performance slipped, and Immaculee saw her chance. The director, frustrated, gave Immaculee a solo in the next show. Her heart soared, finally, the spotlight. But as she practiced, Vestine's haunted eyes haunted her. The rumors had grown, now accusing Vestine of stealing choreography. Immaculee hadn't meant for it to escalate, but she didn't stop it either. Kigali's dance community turned on Vestine. Fans unfollowed her, and sponsors questioned her integrity. Immaculee thrived, her solo earning cheers, but the victory felt hollow. Vestine confronted her at a cafe, tears streaming, "Did you start this?" Immaculee denied it, but her voice shook. Vestine walked away, their friendship fracturing. Alone, Immaculee wondered if envy was worth this cost. The troupe's morale crumbled as Vestine's disgrace spread. Dancers bickered, and audiences dwindled, sensing the tension. Immaculee's solos multiplied, but the joy was gone. She missed Vestine's laughter, their shared dreams. Yet she clung to her new status, convincing herself it was deserved. One night, the director called an emergency meeting. Sponsors were pulling out, threatening the troupe's survival. Immaculee's heart sank, her rumor had poisoned everything. She saw Vestine in the corner, eyes downcast, and guilt surged. Could she confess? The thought terrified her, losing her role, her reputation. But as the meeting ended, Vestine's quiet sob echoed, and Immaculee knew she couldn't hide forever. Immaculee stared into her dressing room mirror, her reflection unrecognizable. The lead role was hers, but the troupe's collapse loomed. Rehearsals were chaotic, dancers quitting weekly. She traced the mirror's edge, remembering Vestine's encouragement during their first audition. Now, Vestine was a pariah, and Immaculee's lie was the cause. She tried to dance, but her movements felt mechanical. The passion that once fueled her was gone, replaced by dread. At home, she found an old video of her and Vestine practicing, laughing. Tears fell as she realized envy had stolen more than Vestine's role, it had stolen her own soul. She had to make this right, but how? A viral post sealed the troupe's fate. Kigali's pride is a fraud. The troupe disbanded, leaving dancers jobless. Immaculee's phone buzzed with hate messages. She was now a target too. Alone in her apartment, she clutched Vestine's old scarf, the guilt unbearable. She had to confess, but fear paralyzed her. She visited the troupe's empty studio, the silence deafening. Memories of Vestine's grace flooded back, and Immaculee whispered, "I'm sorry. But apologies to the shadows weren't enough." She drafted a public confession, hands trembling. Posting it would ruin her, but staying silent was worse. She hovered over send, her future hanging in the balance. Immaculee's confession hit social media like a storm. "I lied about Vestine. I'm the one who ruined her." Kigali erupted. Some praised her honesty, others called her a traitor. She lost followers, bookings, everything. But the weight on her chest lifted, replaced by a new fear. Facing Vestine, she found Vestine at a small dance school, teaching kids. Vestine's eyes hardened as Immaculee approached. "Why?" she asked, voice raw. Immaculee poured out her envy, her regret, sobbing. Vestine listened, silent, then walked away. Immaculee stood alone, knowing redemption was a long road. But she'd taken the first step. Immaculee couldn't dance anymore. Every step reminded her of Vestine, the troupe, her betrayal. She wandered Kigali's streets, avoiding studios, her passion a distant memory. Friends shunned her, and her family's disappointment stung. She was free from her lie, but trapped in its aftermath. At a market, she saw a child mimicking dance moves, eyes alight. It stirred something in Immaculee, a flicker of the joy she'd lost. She bought a notebook, jotting down memories of dance, hoping to reconnect with her past. But Vestine's forgiveness felt like the key she didn't have. A former troupe mentor, Mama Jean, summoned Immaculee. "You broke something sacred," she said, her voice stern. Immaculee braced for scorn, but Mama Jean offered a challenge: volunteer at a youth dance program. "Fix what you broke," she urged. Immaculee hesitated. Could she face dance again? The program was in a dusty Kigali suburb, filled with eager teens. Their energy sparked memories of her own beginnings. Immaculee taught basic steps, her hands shaking. The kids' laughter eased her pain, but she wondered if Vestine would ever know she was trying to atone. The teens' clumsy spins made Immaculee smile, a rare feeling. Teaching forced her to confront dance without the spotlight. She saw herself in their hunger, their flaws. But each lesson reminded her of Vestine's absence. Could she rebuild without her friends' forgiveness? One girl, Aline, asked why Immaculee seemed sad. Startled, she shared a vague story of losing a friend. Aline hugged her, saying, "You're still here." The words lingered, pushing Immaculee to keep teaching, to keep searching for meaning in a life she'd nearly destroyed. Vestine's name appeared in a local paper. She was choreographing a community show. Immaculee's heart raced. She wanted to attend, to support. But fear stopped her. What if Vestine rejected her again? She clutched her notebook, now filled with dance ideas, seeking courage. At the youth program, Eileen's progress amazed her. The girl's dedication mirrored Vestine's, stirring both pride and pain. Immaculee decided to write Vestine a letter, not expecting a reply, but needing to try. She poured her heart into it, hoping for a chance to heal. Immaculee slipped her letter under Vestine's studio door, heart pounding. She apologized again, promising to honor their shared past by teaching others. Walking away, she felt lighter, but doubt lingered. Would Vestine even read it? The uncertainty gnawed at her. Back at the youth program, the teens prepared for a small recital. Immaculee choreographed a piece inspired by her and Vestine's old routines. Teaching it rekindled her love for dance, but the recital loomed as a test. Could she face an audience without crumbling? The recital night buzzed with nerves. Immaculee watched her students shine, their steps echoing her past with Vestine. The crowd's applause warmed her, but she scanned for Vestine, hoping against hope. She wasn't there. Disappointment stung, but the kids' joy kept her grounded. Afterward, Aline gave her a drawing of a dancer, labeled teacher. Tears welled as Immaculée realized she was rebuilding, not as a star, but as a guide. Still, Vestine's silence haunted her, a reminder of the friend she'd lost to envy. A familiar face appeared at the youth program, Vestine. Immaculée froze as Vestine watched the class, her expression unreadable. The kids danced, unaware of the tension. Immaculée braced for anger, but Vestine only nodded and left. Had she read the letter, that night, Immaculée replayed the moment, torn between hope and fear. She choreographed a new piece, pouring her longing for reconciliation into it. Teaching it to the teens felt like a prayer, a way to reach Vestine across the divide she'd created. Vestine sent a message, "Meet me at the old studio." Immaculée's hands shook as she read it. Was this forgiveness or confrontation? She arrived to find Vestine alone, surrounded by memories of their troop days. Vestine's voice was steady, "I read your letter." They talked for hours, Vestine's pain, Immaculée's regret. Vestine didn't forgive her, not yet, but she offered a chance, help with her community show. Immaculée accepted, knowing it was a fragile step toward mending what she'd broken. Working with Vestine felt like stepping on glass. Immaculée assisted with choreography, her suggestions timid. Vestine was professional, but distant. The community show grew, blending traditional Rwandan dance with modern flair. Immaculée saw Vestine's brilliance anew, her envy replaced by awe. The teens from Immaculée's program joined, bridging their worlds. Eline's enthusiasm reminded Immaculée why she'd started dancing. As the show neared, she wondered if Vestine could ever trust her again, or if this was as close as they'd get. The community show lit up Kigali's open-air theater. Immaculée watched from backstage, her students and Vestine's dancers moving as one. The crowd roared, and for a moment, Immaculée felt the old thrill of dance. But her role was support, not stardom, a humbling shift. Vestine thanked her after, her tone softer. "You're different," she said. Immaculée nodded, tears in her eyes. She'd found purpose in lifting others, but the ache for their old friendship lingered, a wound only time could heal. Immaculée's passion for dance flickered back, fueled by teaching. She expanded the youth program, adding storytelling to honor Rwandan culture. The kids called her coach, a title she cherished. But Vestine's cautious distance reminded her of the trust she'd shattered. One evening, Aline asked about Vestine, sensing their history. Immaculée shared a sanitized version, emphasizing redemption. Aline's hug steadied her. She was building a legacy, not of fame, but of impact. Still, she dreamed of dancing with Vestine again. A national festival invited Vestine's group to perform. She asked Immaculée to co-choreograph, a tentative olive branch. Immaculée poured her heart into it, blending their old styles. Working together felt like home, but Vestine's guarded smiles kept her at arm's length. The teens thrived, their confidence soaring. Immaculée saw her younger self in them, before envy took hold. She vowed to protect their dreams, even as she navigated the fragile hope of rebuilding with Vestine. The festival loomed as their biggest test. The festival dazzled Kigali, with drums echoing through the night. Immaculée and Vestine's choreography stunned the crowd, their students shining. For the first time, Immaculée felt pride without envy. Vestine squeezed her hand backstage, a fleeting warmth. Afterwards, they sat under the stars, reminiscing. Vestine admitted she'd struggled to forgive but saw Immaculée's change. "We're not there yet," she said, "but we're closer." Immaculée nodded, content with progress, her heart lighter than it had been in years. Immaculée faces setbacks, community skepticism, a rival teacher's accusations, and her own doubts. She deepens her bond with her students, who inspire her to create a dance festival celebrating Rwandan heritage. Vestine gradually softens, sharing small moments of trust. The festival succeeds, but a misunderstanding threatens Immaculée and Vestine's progress. Immaculée proves her loyalty by defending Vestin's reputation, earning a heartfelt conversation. They choreograph a duet, symbolizing their healing. Immaculée rediscovers her passion through teaching and performing with Vestin. They face external challenges, funding cuts, a jealous former troupe member, but their growing friendship holds firm. Immaculée mentors Aline, who dreams of a national stage. The story culminates in a national tour featuring Immaculée, Vestin, and their students. Vestin fully forgives Immaculée in a tearful moment before the final performance. Immaculée embraces her role as a teacher, finding joy in others' success. The tour ends with a dance honoring their journey, leaving Kigali inspired.